See, Matthew's gospel, as we mentioned, is a Jewish gospel. They're all Jewish, but Matthew's has a particular emphasis on a lot of Jewish themes, such as, well, we'll get into some of these later, but the Messianic King. So the theme of Matthew, we said, is Matthew's presentation or portrait of Jesus is the Messianic King of the Jews. He's the Messiah that the Jewish people are waiting for. He is their king, that they've been waiting to come and liberate them. So that's a prominent Jewish theme right there, the Jewish messianic expectation. Let's see. Also, we mentioned that the different kind of sects of the Hebrews that arose during the intertestamental period. We had Hellenistic Jews who were more Greek in their thinking and accepting of Greek culture. And we said that Hebrew Jews were those who were really rooted in their original Hebrew culture. And they probably spoke Hebrew and or Aramaic, probably and Aramaic, and were very familiar more with the Hebrew language. Paul in the book of Acts, said that he was a Hebrew he said that he was a Pharisee. But he writes in another place that he was a Hebrew of Hebrews, so a Hebrew in that time, in this first century Second Temple period, meant someone who was really more rooted in their original Jewish culture rather than Hellenized or, as we would say, Americanized, in our culture. We know that there are some Jews who maybe try to keep more of a different culture that they came from, Yiddish Jews or other kinds of Jews. And then we see other people who would be, well, we wouldn't even be able to tell. They're, so blended in with us that they just look like our same culture. So the same thing in the first century period. They were Hebraic Jews, Hebrew Jews that were called Hebrews, that were more proud and more adherent to their own culture. And so Matthew is probably even though, as I said, Jesus is a Jewish Messiah, he is a Jew, and all of the characters in the Gospels are Jews for the most part. I mean, there are some Romans, but the main players and Jesus himself, they're Jews. But the Gospel of Matthew is a little bit more Jewish in that way, in that it probably has a Hebrew flavor or emphasis to it that could give us a signal of who it was really meant to, who Matthew was really reaching out to, or who Matthew really was, that was really his background. So see, Matthew, so his theme is obviously Jesus. The Messiah has come. Jesus is the Messiah of the Jews. He is the Jewish king. Let's see. Matthew 2:2 and Matthew 21:5-9, and then chapter 27, verse 37, all reference Jesus as the King of the Jews. So in chapter 2, when the visitors from the east are coming to find Jesus and worship him, they're asking, where is he who is born King of the Jews? They're asking Herod that. And all the way through to his crucifixion, well, in chapter 21 is his triumphal entry as king into, riding on the donkey, and the people are laying palm branches in his path and shouting, Hosanna, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And Matthew quotes, let's see. I think he quotes, is it Zechariah? I didn't write that one down. But so Matthew quotes an Old Testament prophecy that of your king is coming to you lowly and riding on the donkey, the colt, full of a donkey. So he's referring to Jesus specifically as your king is coming to you. And of course, like I said, this is the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem, and everything goes downhill from there. And he ends up being crucified, arrested, tried, crucified, buried. And of course, then he was risen from the dead. But at his crucifixion in chapter 27, Pilate puts the inscription, the sign on his cross that says, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, in 3 languages. So we have 3 references right here to Jesus as King of the Jews. And then we talked about Matthew's gospel. It starts out with the genealogy. It starts out in verse 1 with the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of Abraham, the son of David. Or maybe it's the other way around, son of David, the son of Abraham, the son of David. One of those. So it's showing Jesus coming from the line of Abraham, and then more specifically from the line of David. And that is in the very first verse of chapter 1, as well as verse 17. Because then in chapter 1, verse 17, Matthew makes another apologetic or a proof for Jesus' messiahship by noting a pattern of 14 generations. He said, from Abraham to David were 14 generations. From David to the exile in Babylon was 14 generations. And from the Babylonian exile to Jesus have been 14 generations, or were 14 generations. So he uses both of those. Verse 1 and verse 17 sort of are bookends for the genealogy, which the genealogy details, that he really is descended from David and from Abraham, as the Messiah was supposed to be.